Franco-German bilateral summits are quite common, but what's so special about this one?
Well, what's very special about this one is that it's the first time that Angela Merkel goes to the Fort Bregancon, which is indeed this summer residence for French presidents. Usually, it is not a place where politics are done. It's usually a place where it's very much a retreat for the president. But Emmanuel Macron has changed that in the past few years. In 2018, he had invited Theresa May. That was amidst the Brexit crisis. And then in 2019, it was Vladimir Putin. That was just a year ago, and this year it is indeed Angela Merkel. This is very much for the French president an opportunity to show that he is at work, that this is the beginning for him of this diplomatic season, if you will, and he always chooses to invite people who are very much in the spotlight, people who, France needs to talk to at the moment. Now, it's also interesting because historically this has happened before, but that was back in 1985. Back then it was Helmut Kohl who was invited at the Fort Bregancon. Since, there's been the fall of the wall of Berlin, the end of the Cold War, etc., etc., etc. So a lot of things have happened in the meantime. And today, they have a lot to discuss.
Indeed. So could you tell us a little bit more about what they're going to talk about?
Now, one thing which is going to be very high up on the agenda is, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. The fact that France and Germany want to coordinate more to avoid what happened when this outbreak happened in the first place, which was very different policies in different European countries, a lot of reactions such as keeping medical equipments for oneself, borders closing. Well, this time the French president and the German Chancellor want to come up with at least a common position between France and Germany and avoid these kinds of problems. Of course, there's also the reboot of the European economy. These are the two biggest economies in the Eurozone at the moment. And of course, they need to coordinate on that front as well, with a lot of risks regarding the auto industry on both sides of that border. Internationally, of course, the big files are Mali, which is very important for the French president. The Élysée Palace has stressed that fact, that indeed they want a common position with Germany in order to avoid Sahel to descend into a potential political chaos. It's a very important country in the Sahel, and as you know, France and Germany are engaged in stemming terrorism there. And then you can also talk about Lebanon, of course, Belarus, where the two heads of state would like to find a common position on that very tricky file at the moment. And then maybe the most important item on the agenda between France and Germany on the international front, that is the Eastern Mediterranean, the fight for gas with Turkey making aggressive moves in that area of the Mediterranean. France has already sent in 2 warships and 2 fighter jets and hoping more backing from Germany. Germany, for the moment, who's taken a very soft stance, I'd say, in this respect, given, and it's important, of course, the very large Turkish community in Germany and the very strong ties between Germany and Turkey. So it is always difficult for the Germans to be very aggressive when it comes to Turkey. And we'll have to see what comes out of this summit on that front, because that is very much a very high risk of instability there in that area.
All right, thank you so much for your analysis, James Andre there.